All right. I've got a lot of questions coming in about healing, enlistment, hospitals, losses at events, where they're coming from. So I'm going to tell you what I know, and no guarantee that any of it's right. Nah, most of it's probably really close to right if it's not exactly accurate. There are 4 ways that your troops can be handled when you get into a battle. Ideally, the best way is going to be when you're handled through your hospital. So your hospital is intended to take a certain amount of troops in when you are in a position to take wounded. Now, there are times when 100% go to your hospital, and there are times when only a certain percentage go to your hospital. If you're in the case of defending, that means if you are defending your home base, or you're defending a tower, or you're defending the center of Capitol, or a tower at Capitol, or even an Alliance HQ or an Alliance tower, anytime you are defending, you will take only wounded if there's room in your hospital. So that's really important to remember. If you're defending, if you're attacking, that's not necessarily true. Then your stats take over, and the one that's considered lethality will determine which ones die and which ones are wounded. So the higher your lethality, the more troops that will, the higher the lethality of your opponent, the more of your troops that will die. This applies to when you're attacking in in certain locations. If you go to attack somebody's hive, you're going to have losses. If you're the person getting attacked, all of your troops will go to the hospital until such time that your hospital's full. All right, let's talk about the second fallback to that. Most of you are familiar with the second way, which is after your hospital, you have troops go into enlistment in some cases. Again, there is a difference for enlistment, which is based on whether or not you're defending or attacking. If, for example, you're out roaming around during a kill event, and you're attacking bases, you're going to have losses, and you're not going to get to use enlistment. What is enlistment? Enlistment is basically, we're going to bring back the dead. But keep in mind, they only bring back 30%. 30% is based on a bunch of investigation and a bunch of looking around and stuff. That's the best number I can find. It looks like it's pretty accurate. That means that 7 out of every 10 troops that die that qualify for enlistment will show up here. That does mean that there is an actual 30% loss. So let's talk about those losses. If you get attacked in your hive during a KE, your troops will first go to your hospital, path 1. The overflow will go to your enlistment, path 2. And the overflow of your enlistment, which is exactly 4 times the size of your hospital, will die and go away. That's path 4. Now, you ask, okay, you skipped path 3. I did, because there is a special path called revival that happens during events like SVS, and that's actually the only one I can think of. In that case, the revival gets inserted in front of your enlistment. So you don't actually have an enlistment, you have a revival. But there are a few caveats to it. If you leave your state and go to another state, you're considered a participant in SVS, and therefore everything you do while you're in that state is considered a revival death. Revival deaths will go into your revival, and you will get 90% of those troops back if you do everything with your tickets correctly, and you pay the tokens at the end of the revival stage and get all 50 tickets. You'll see the percentage of that when you do the revival. So that is option 3. So now, there are a few times when it doesn't apply. Let's say that they come to our state before we won prep, so we're going to go to their state to fight fights SVS, and they come to our state and attack us in a hive in our hive. The original hive rules apply. You're not considered a participant of SVS at this point, and therefore, when they attack you, your troops are going to go to the hospital first, enlistment second, and nothing's going to go to revival. Now, as soon as you port to their state, you're going to instantly be qualified to have revival, and all of those troops will happen that way. It also seems that when you come back after that, and you're defending your state, which I like that aspect of the game, is where when I come home and I run around, and those that are attacking our hives, I like to blow them up. I get a lot of revival troops from that era. Of those revival troops, I only get 90% back. So there's going to be a percentage. Now, there was a bunch of rumors going around that I heard 3%, I heard 7%, I've heard all kinds of different percentages, and that's the maximum number of troops you could do. That calculation has everything to do with things such as what is the number of troops that you have, how big is your hospital, how much of the number of troops that you have you were sent off to your revival stage. Did you get hit before they started going to revival, and some go to enlistment? You can have all different types of percentages lost in different places and end up with troops in your hospital, in your enlistment, and in your revival. And if you take it far enough, you can still end up with some dead also. Dead meaning dead without going to one of those 4 stages. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I think I pretty much covered everything. There are a few scenarios. The biggest scenario to remember is that you are covered by whatever prevention loss mechanism is in place, whether that's revival or your enlistment center, as long as you're defending. If you're attacking, there are only certain places that you will do it. For example, if you are attacking at a capital event, attacking the center or attacking a tower, everything goes to the hospital and then goes to the secondary location afterwards. If you're defending a AC or attacking an AC, everything will go to your hospital. If you're attacking on the gray zone at an AC, it won't. You're going to have deaths, and they're not going to go anywhere except dead. If you are playing at a bunker, the same thing applies. Everything goes to the things. If you attack someone else's tower, this is the one exception to all the other rules. It is, and you lose, it's an instant 35% death. They don't go to revival. They don't go to a hospital. They are dead. You can still have additional troops that die if it is severely lost. But even if you lose by 1 unit, even if it's you have 100,000 units and they have 50,000 units, and you wipe out everything on their side except 1 unit, and you lose, you're going to lose 35% of your troops, no matter what the damage on the other side was. That's how the calculation is done. So it's never, anytime I've been asked this, I haven't been able to get a very clear answer, because this involves a very, very difficult question of, it's 4 times the size of the hospital, but yet it's only 70% of the troops come here. But that doesn't mean that 70 out of every 100 come here, which is true. But it's also 70 of the following 100 and 100 until it's full. So it can really skew the percentages, and you really have to do a lot of math to come up with how many were supposed to be here, and did they have a secondary location to go or something other than that. So that's what I know. If you have any questions, write a comment below. Make sure you hit the subscribe so you can get these as soon as they come out. Sometimes I post them in multiple locations, and sometimes I don't post them anywhere at all. Thanks a lot. Y'all have a good one. And